Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make this distressed foiled card, and the stamps I'm using are from Stampin' Up. They have a brand new Saleabration catalog this year. I love it. I loved everything in here. Last year I wasn't crazy about the Saleabration stuff, but this year I wanted everything, and I ended up getting that set and that set and this set here that we're going to use today. For those of you that don't know much about Stampin' Up, every year they do this promotion where if you spend $50 you get a free Saleabration stamp set, and you'll get a new one for every $50 you spend. So if you spend $150, you get 3 sets. So it's kind of cool. If you don't have a Stampin' Up demonstrator, I'll put a link to my demonstrator in the video description. Wendy, you can go check her out, and she has a fun website with lots of free projects on it too, so you don't want to miss that. So what we're going to use is a heat and stick powder. And you could probably use regular embossing powder for this, but the heat and stick just gives you a little extra time to work. We're going to use some heat transfer foil. You could use the Heidi Swapp stuff. I happen to have this in my stash from a long time ago, so I'm using that up. And we're going to need a piece of white cardstock. The card base that I'm using, this was cool. This was from Michael's. They had these huge packs of 50 or 60 for $5, and I thought it looked really elegant with the with that panel on top. So that's what I'm going to use for the card base. So we're going to ink our stamp up with Versamark. Any sort of sticky embossing ink will work really well. You just want to make sure you have it really well inked. Probably a glue pad, anything like that would be fine for this. Give it a good press and give it a second for the ink to transfer. Alright, I can see I have a good coating on there. So I'm going to put some of this heat and stick powder on top. I guess it's got clumpy. I don't know why. It's kind of old. I've had this for a few years, so I think regular embossing powder would work too. Just the heat and stick, I think, gives us a little more time to work with. There we go. Okay, I've got really good coverage there, but I do see I have some extra space that I don't want to have foil. If sometimes the outside of your stamp will leave some ink, so you want to brush that off, make sure you don't have any stray powder, and then we're going to heat it up. So you might have to heat it a couple times. I'm just going to heat it so I can see that everything's gone clear. And I've got my foil out and ready to go, okay? Alright, I'm just going over to make sure it's nice and hot, and I'm going to set my foil right on the hot paper and just press it with my fingers. And hopefully, if you're lucky, this is all you're going to need to do. But you'll see it can be a bit spotty, so you can just reheat a portion. Oops, and press the foil into it. And I've kind of had to do that, just go through and reheat a section. Press it with the foil. And so on and so forth until you get all the foil on there that you want. Sometimes you get it just right the first try. And other times you have to work for it. Now if you find that you've got some areas that just won't transfer, you can go in with this product called Quickie Glue, and you can add a little bit more adhesive in these certain spots. Remember, this is a distressed look. It's not going to be perfect. You might even get a better transfer if you did pop this in a laminator in a carrier sheet, but I don't think you really, I kind of like the look. And you could put a couple hearts in there because this is a cool pen you can sketch with. Now you need to let that ink go clear. It's blue right now, let it go clear before you press the foil onto it. Hearts will typically take less time to dry. So look at that, isn't that cool? I just love that. This is so fun. And I like that we can use our stamps for foiling, especially brush letters because it's so popular right now. So any plain spots you see on your foil, you can press that into any of the areas you added adhesive to. Just press it down firmly so it can grab it. And there is the foiling part done. Now you could have used gold embossing powder for a very similar look. This is just a different option. Now that the foiling is done, I'm going to do some stamping, and I'm just going to use the little flowers that came with the set, and turning my stamp as I go and putting down these cute little blossoms. Again, I like to do my biggest first, and then the medium, and then the small. I'm just going to try not to get the outside. I think I'm going to trim these stamps down a little bit smaller. You can see how much rubber there is around the image. Look, I got a little on the outside. That's going to be trimmed off, but still. I think I'm going to trim these down. Actually, I think I only want 3 of those. And I'll do the little one in yellow. I do that a lot though with I noticed with like the Stampin' Up die cut stamps, because it used to be you'd get them and you had to trim them yourself. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. And that was kind of cool because, I mean, it was more work, but you could get them exactly trimmed as closely as you like, and I like a closely trimmed stamp, so that worked out well for me. And well, I need to do some green leaves. So don't be afraid, like anytime you get stamps, don't be afraid to trim them so they work for the way you like to stamp. See, I'm like way off on putting my leaves on there. Not that it really makes a difference, but if I trim those a little closer, I would be able to, I wouldn't get that weird, see I'm getting those little marks around there. And I'd have much better placement. I'm gonna go with the other one there. I'll live and learn, right? All the little things you learn along the way on our stamping journey. Don't worry about any like any messy lines on the edge, because we're gonna trim this panel and we're going to ink the edges. So that's what we have so far. Now I'm going to use my paper trimmer and trim that down. I barely have any room left on my table. It's really scary. I want to trim this, so it's going to leave let some of the edge show. I'm going to go like 3 3/4 by about 5 1/4, about that. I'm gonna kind of hold it up inside. I feel like I need to trim a little bit more off that side though. I'm just gonna eyeball it for right now. Let's see how that looks. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more off the bottom. And do a little bit of green ink around the edges. And you could like use a sponge if you want to have it a little bit neater or a little bit softer. Totally fine. And this also has inside of the card sentiments in it. Where's my set? Right here. It says, so you could have just for you on the outside and on your special day because you're so nice, because you're awesome on the inside. So it's a pretty versatile set. So I'm really happy I chose this one because even though the foiling took a little time, it's really a very quick set to use, so you can make some quick cards, and I always seem to need some quick cards, especially nice when I can use these blank cards I found at Michael's too, because foiling is so popular and it's nice to kind of jump on a trend. I think sometimes it's fun to do something different, so I can just stamp my whatever I want in the middle when the time comes. But there you have it. Try it in different color foils, you know, see what you like. It's shinier than embossing powder, so it's just something fun to try. If you don't feel like investing in foils, go ahead and use your embossing powder or just a plain ink, but it'll give you some ideas to get you started. If you have any questions about any of the products I used, you can leave a comment down below or check out the video description. I'll have links to the product I use, and also to my friend Wendy's website where you can order this stuff for yourself and get the deal before celebration is done. It goes through March 31st, so you have plenty of time to order. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.